Okay, so lastly, let's talk about question 3C and question 3 part C. And so what this one is asking us to do is to plot a histogram of our p hats that we simulated in parts A and B. Okay, so parts A and B, actually, they can use the same p hats, right? They just whether or not you reject or accept the null hypothesis depends on different alphas. So I know that if you're using Excel, the p-hats will change every time you move your cursor, right? Because new random numbers get generated every time. So what you're going to want to do is press or click on p-hats and then press Shift, Control, and then the sideways key, sideways arrow, and copy them. And on a new worksheet, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say Paste Special. And then first thing I want to do is I want to transpose this, so instead of it being horizontal, I want it to be vertical, all in the same column. And then I'm going to say values and numbers, so that way it doesn't take with it the equation, it's just going to take one set of p-hat values. Okay, so they're not going to change every time, they're going to be set. So you see, now when I click these guys are set. So it's just one sample that you could have seen over here in question 3. So I'm going to rename this spreadsheet question 3C. So I need to create a histogram of all these p-hats. So to do this, I'm going to use the data analysis toolpack. It has the histogram option in it. If you do not have that histogram option, if you go to File, Options, then Add-ins, Analysis Toolpack, press on that, then press Go, then press Analysis Toolpack and say OK. That will, if you click around and then click on the Data tab, now you should have a data analysis option there. Okay, before I can use the histogram, I need to set up what my bins are going to be though. So to do this, first I should figure out, what's the min, what's the max, what's the range, what's the bin width that I'm going to choose, or the number of bins maybe, and then maybe the bin width. Okay, so the min, I just type min. I'm going to highlight all those p-hats. Should be 200 of them there. Then the max, I type max. I click on one of them, I press Shift Control down, highlights all of them. So A2 to A201, looks like I got 100 of them. In parentheses, there we go. The range is going to be the max minus the min. Okay, remember my data, as I showed in the previous video, I simulated my data slightly different than what you'll be simulating your data as. So your min and max and range are probably going to look a little different. Now the number of bins, good suggestion that I always kind of start with when I'm thinking about the number of bins is the square root of n. So I have 200 p-hats here. So what's the square root of 200? 14. Okay, so I'll go ahead and use 14 bins. So my bin width will then be the range divided by 14. So the upper bin limit, so this is going to be the upper limit for each of the bins. I'll start with the min, and then I'll add on to it the bin width. So I'm going to round the bin width up to 0.04. This way I'll cover all of my data. So I want this to go to 2. So let's see, I want this to go to 14. I want 14 bins. Okay, and then the next one is going to be this one plus 0.04. Now if I were to drag this, see, it automatically will go previous plus 0.04, previous plus 0.04, etc. Okay, so then make sure that all of your data is being captured in with these bins. And so we see that our max is 0.6 and the upper limit is 0.61. So yes, that 0.6 is going to fit inside this last bin here. And then obviously the min is going to fit in the first bin. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead. Let's do our histogram. So we go down here, make sure we highlight the histogram option, press OK. So all this will be empty when you come in. So for the input range, you highlight all of the p-hats, right? This is what I'm doing a histogram of. So to do that, I press one of the cells and I press Shift, Control down. That should highlight 200. So we see it's going from A2 to A201. So that's good. And then the bin range, this is the upper bin limit. Okay, and then the output range, you want to press inside this cell and then just click somewhere where you want the table and charts to be outputted. And make sure you have this chart output clicked. That'll give you the histogram. Alright, so there we go. There's the histogram. So we can do some things to this to make it look a lot nicer. First, we can get rid of this more. Okay, and then we could delete that frequency, because clearly they're frequencies, right, the histogram. And then this looks a little messy down here on the bottom, so I might format the axes and have it be a number that only goes to 2 decimal places. And then also I might want to change this alignment to make it go a little sideways. Actually, I like it in the other direction. Okay. As I'm changing it, you can see in the background the way it looks. Okay. So press OK to that. Also, histograms, the bars are usually close to each other. So if we go to Design and then we press down option, we see this option where they're all really close to each other. I'm going to click that one. And then I want to maybe change the color of the bars to make it look a little better maybe. So I want the outlines to be dark so you can see the different bars. Maybe make it lighter. So you see here we have some bins that are empty. Kind of messes with the shape. So do we believe that the true underlying distribution really takes these big dips, or is it maybe that we just didn't have enough data to observe anything in those bins? So this is when you kind of take the drawing a histogram kind of becomes an art, and we can kind of play around with this and maybe reduce the number of bins and see if the histogram looks more like what you would maybe expect by reducing the number of bins and then maybe not having empty bins. Alright, I should change this from just saying bin to what it is. So what is it? It's the probability or estimated probability of breaking of the cable breaking. Alright, and then so this question is kind of getting at, is it going to look like a normal distribution? Well, like I said, again, this is the way mine looks. Yours will look slightly different. You can think about that and think about, is the sample size of 20 large enough that this the distribution of these p-hats are going to start looking like the normal distribution? And you can kind of think about that and consider that question.